Joining me on GCS today is Aimee Tolleson. She is the principal of Belmont Central Elementary School. Aimee, it is great to see you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Todd.
Okay, Aimee, last year you served as an assistant principal in Gaston County Schools, and you were named our assistant principal of the year. And then, of course, this year you've been promoted to principal at Belmont Central. So let's talk for a moment about what it was like to be named the principal of the year last year.
Well, I was assistant principal of the year last year. Maybe principal of the year can be a long-term goal, but it was an honor, truly. The assistant principals in Gaston County are dynamic and passionate, and in my experience, always put students first. So it's truly an honor to be able to represent that group, and I was very excited to have been named assistant principal of the year.
And thank you for correcting me on that. Assistant principal of the year, maybe principal of the year is in your future at some point.
Yes, maybe.
Okay, so you were our assistant principal of the year last year. Now you are the principal at Belmont Central Elementary. So now as a principal, what are some similarities or some differences that you have noticed between being an assistant principal and a principal?
Yeah, there are lots. Two of the main similarities that I've noticed and really appreciated are first, just the amount of time that I get to dedicate and invest in relationships and interactions. That's one of my favorite things. And I think that is the best way to advance a school is by putting time into relationships with students, staff, and community members. That has remained the same as I've transitioned from the assistant principalship to the principalship. The other huge similarity is that no 2 days are the same. And I love that. I like to kind of always be on my feet, always on my toes, looking for what's next. So that has been very gratifying that has remained the same. I would say the biggest difference, obviously, is just the level of responsibility. As an assistant principal, I was at South Point, and so I could just run up to Mr. Ford's office and say, hey, I'm thinking about this. What do you think? And then I could hand it to him, and he had the final say. Now, as a principal, of course, I still include staff members and community members in decision making, but the final say lies with me. And so that can be a lot of pressure and is definitely a difference.
So tell us about Aimee Tolleson. What is your education story and what led you to education and brought you to Gaston County?
Yeah. So Aimee Tolleson has been all over the place. I was born in New York State and attended public schools there and up until junior high, then moved to Louisiana and graduated high school there. Then I went into college at the University of South Carolina. So when I think about all those transitions kind of in my formative years, those were pretty big transitions, moving from New York to Louisiana, rocked the world of a 7th grade student. But when I think about all of that, the people that stand out in my memory are educators. Of course, my parents, but then educators. My 5th grade English teacher, Mrs. Sherman, my senior English teacher, Mrs. Easterling, and then a college professor, Dr. Jennifer Wilson, who just really invested in me and made an impact on me. And so I wanted to be a part of that. And that's how I landed in education. We moved to Gaston County from Texas. And, I have 2 small children. So of course, researching schools was part of our move process. And Gaston County just really stood out as a great place to raise children, have children in schools. And then I was lucky enough to land a position here as well. And I've been very happy and thankful for the experiences I've had in Gaston County.
So far, what has it been like to be the principal at Belmont Central? I know that Belmont Central Elementary has a lot of tradition, a lot of high standards. There's a lot of school and community pride associated with Belmont Central. So what has it been like to be at the school? And what do you think you are doing, or what do you want to do to contribute to those standards, that tradition, that pride that the school has?
So luckily, being at South Point, I was aware of, just the overall community expectations and standards for schools in Belmont. So I kind of had an idea of what I was getting into here at Belmont Central, and I've loved every minute of it. I think my biggest goal is to obviously maintain those standards and expectations, but to find new ways to celebrate and communicate about them. And so that's something that I'm working towards every day, just to try to get the good news out and to celebrate our students.
So you have just started this school year as a principal. If we sat down 10 years from now, what do you think we would be talking about in relation to your job as a principal, the role of a school principal?
Todd, I left my crystal ball at home today, but I would hope that we will be talking about some changes in the way that schools are funded, having more resources available, and how the principal's role would evolve to kind of leverage that increase in funding and resources. I think that's something that's needed, and so I hope that that happens. I hope that in an area like Belmont or Gaston County, we're continuing to talk about community support and kind of celebrations for students. I also would hope that maybe we're talking about some changes in accountability models and in teacher autonomy.
And I think that if we were able to look ahead, we think about the growth our community has experienced over the past 10 years, we can anticipate more growth in Gaston County just because of our proximity to the Charlotte area. I think that growth will be important. And I think that you will have a focus on more technology, because technology, every day it becomes more important to our lives. I think that you'll probably see that as well.
I agree. Absolutely.
So who or what gives you motivation to get up every morning, to go to work, and to be an elementary school principal? Where do you find that encouragement and motivation?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier that one of my favorite similarities between the assistant principalship and the principalship has been the amount of time that I get to spend focusing on relationships and interactions with people. And that's what motivates me, is those people, and just trying to make Belmont Central Elementary School the best place possible for students and families. It sounds cliche, but I do truly believe that children are our future, and that there is power in public education to transform lives. And so those beliefs motivate me as well. Similarly, for me, it's personal. My own two children are here at school with me, which has been exciting and different. But even at previous schools where I've been, when my children were not with me, I try to really think about, okay, if my kids were here, what would I want them to learn? What would I want them to experience? How would I want them to be treated? And I do my best to replicate that wherever I am. So it's all about the people for me.
We are in the people business.
We are.
That's what education is about. So you have to have that focus on the people in your building, your students, your teachers, your staff members, your parents, those community members who support your school. It is all about people when it comes to education.
It is. Absolutely.
Aimee Tolleson is the principal at Belmont Central Elementary School. And last year, she won the award, the Gaston County Assistant Principal of the Year award. So, Aimee, again, we want to congratulate you on winning Gaston County Assistant Principal of the Year. And we want to congratulate you on your appointment as the principal at Belmont Central. We know you're going to be fantastic at Belmont Central. You will keep those high standards and traditions in place and help build even more school and community pride associated with Belmont Central. So thank you for being with us here today. And we appreciate all that you are doing. And certainly we appreciate you taking time to be with us on GCS Today.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your support.